Took me a second. Doing good. Okay. Took me a little minute. You know what I realized, and I think it's still the case right now, is that last live that wasn't like the last live that I did, I didn't realize it was. I was like, God, that went so smooth. We really didn't have that many jerks or a-holes that came in. It's because I had the sub only chat. I didn't know. So I think it's still that way. I flipped it on and I was like, oh, it's sub, and then I was like, oh yeah, that's why we didn't have. That was nice though, wasn't it? All right, here we go. Let me put this in real quick. All right. There we go. I'm just gonna give it a minute. I don't know if anybody saw because I changed. Usually we do 333, and today I'm doing 555, which if not a lot of people come in, we can, yeah. But we are going to be talking about duality. Look at the picture. Look at my backdrop. The duality. Duality of the two things. This is a depiction of what that looks like. This is primitive. This is primitive. Okay. This is the godly version. I'm going to talk about how these align a little bit. I've been wanting to talk about it. The layers of it, I guess, for a minute, but yeah. Hey, Lilani, thank you. So, how's everybody doing though? How's everybody feeling? Everybody feeling okay? I woke up today and I don't know if y'all have been able to tell when your frequency's like spiking. I'm having that today, like big time. So hopefully we're not going to have any issues with the live. Please tell me if it starts glitching and messing up. I do have some grounding stones around it. Good. Yes. I woke up wired, and very strong astral. Yes. Since last night. Like just, it's interesting. I had a lot of downloads last night as well. So like big, powerful ones. You know, the big, powerful kind. So everybody hydrating and doing all the things while we talk about duality and what it means modern day. So I have a picture behind me. I'm going to go back. So this is the two version. Okay. So when we talk about duality, all right, and I'm just going to keep it relative to the human being. When I said we have the good and the bad, the angels on our shoulder, this is that. But I've always told people this isn't a devil. We don't have to create a negative entity. Okay. The human without a connection to the divine source, without empathy. Okay. Without empathy. Is capable of doing things, does do things that we would consider evil and acts of the devil. And this is the human with no connection to source or to the collective. And this is the other version that is very godly. Now why do I have the split right down the middle? Why would that be important? Why wouldn't I just show the godly one or the peaceful looking one and say, that's it. That's what we all need to be. Don't be this one, be that one. Don't be this. Don't be primitive. Don't be selfish. Don't be brutal. Don't do any of that. Just be this one. Thank you. Exactly. Because of duality. And here's what I'm going to say. Carrying duality as a human being on this journey. Okay. And I've talked about this a bit, but I'm going to expand on it. The reason that this picture split is because both of these versions are important. Okay. Both of these versions are very important. All right. Now, when I say important, I don't mean the evil or the dark or the cruel. Okay. But I do mean the capability, the human instinct, aspects of the human condition. Okay. Aspects of us that make us human. Okay. While also carrying a godly and peaceful side. So when I tell you guys I have my shadow in my back pocket, I say that a lot. Like I don't have to lead with my shadow. It walks beside me and it's in my back pocket if I need it. Right. What I'm saying and what we're saying when you speak that way and you're carrying duality is you're saying this is who I lead with. I lead with one that is kind. I lead with the kindest version of myself, right? I lead with the one that wants to believe that we're all good. I lead with the one that wants to be gentle, wants to be kind. Okay. But this one, why is this not the one we want to lead with? This one is only good for the back pocket. Because if this one is seen as a target, now this happens a lot. I've always told people I'm not a walking target, I'm a walking challenge to who you are. Because in the back pocket, I do have a shadow. I'm not ashamed of it. I have a past, I have a shadow, I have a version of myself. We all do. And right now in this world, especially in the United States, we're seeing a lot of people running and showing this version of self first. Because this one is the defensive one. This one goes on offense. This one is what you would grab onto when you were afraid. Okay? So what does that tell you? This one is who we grab onto when we're frightened. When we're afraid. We have a lot of people afraid, don't we? This one's cruel, selfish, entitled. Can be, anyway. This one is also someone who's capable. The version of you that's capable. That's capable of doing what's necessary for the right, for good, for kindness, for love, for a better world. But if we don't have this version with us, this one goes loose. This one goes loose, and this one is nothing short of what we would call the devil when it's loose, when it's disconnected from God, from source. So when you see this one, when you see this version, or you work to achieve this version, this peaceful, harmonious, kind being, and this is who you present to the world. Even if you were this person at all, this is what everyone saw, this is who you behaved like, this is whatever, that person doesn't go anywhere. Okay? That shadow doesn't go anywhere. That version stays. It's just not the one that people see. See? People see this one. And if they think that's an easy target, they can meet this one. Do you see where I'm going? But the reason that it's important that we get to this level of healing and understanding ourselves as godly beings is because when we have to bring this version out, we want to, and we need to know that it is always just. It is always to protect that which is sacred. It is always for the betterment of the world. It is never selfish. It is never entitled. It doesn't harm. It doesn't seek to harm. It doesn't harm anything or anyone for pleasure. Only to defend and protect. Now that's a funny word, protect. People might go, oh yeah, to protect. So if you want to walk around, and this is what I do, this is why I tell you guys all the time, I'm not an embodiment of the divine feminine. I'm an embodiment of the divine masculine, more so. Meaning this is who I walk with. This is the one people see most of the time. I love it. That's who I want people to see. But if you start to think that that version, is someone who's an easy target, okay? You start to do something in front of this one to somebody else who you might think is also an easy target. I've healed my shadow. I walk with it. This one comes out. That one comes out. But this one rogue, without a divine connection, is vile. It can be vile. We don't need to make up an imaginary bad entity. No, take accountability. No. This one, disconnected from God, disconnected from source, is the devil. Is capable of doing things that we would only imagine an evil entity would do. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, this one is of a man, okay? The women's a little bit different. Their duality is a little bit different. But this is kind of an embodiment of who we are, okay? The AI thing that I was using could not get the women, the female version correct, and it was infuriating. Let's put it that way. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because we're seeing a lot of this. We're seeing a lot of this type, okay? All right, we're seeing a lot of the type that it has no connection to source and rules by way of brutality, fear, dismissiveness, selfishness. Okay, they are not connected to their divinity. They're not connected to each other. They're not connected, as in they don't. If you don't have empathy for another human being, you start disconnecting from this version. And this one starts to take the front seat. Now, when this one can take the front seat and you can walk with this one we only want to take out for very basic survival and defense. That's it. Very basic survival and defense. This one is the one that we can walk with all the time when we're brave enough to do so. And if people, again, I'm going to be clear, when you have healed your shadow, and you know it's there, and you walk with this one, and if you're nervous and you go, oh, I might be targeted, I might be picked on, good. Don't you have this guy too? Because when you're walking with this guy, I see someone who's afraid. I see someone who's afraid because this guy comes out when fear. When I defend myself or defend others, when I'm in that position the few times I've been in, it is a fear. It's not a fear that I'm going to be harmed, but you can't get to that state without a level of fear. You won't react or act in defense without a level of fear of harm being done to you or somebody else. So yeah, there is fear when I have to bring out the shadow, when we have to bring out the shadow. But this one in the forefront, this one in the driver's seat, all fear. All fear, all entitlement. If somebody believes that they can, I love it. If somebody believes that they can challenge this one, the kind one, the one that leads with their kindness, the one that doesn't seek to harm, the one that advocates, the one that speaks up for people, the one that stands up for people, the one that has empathy. And if somebody walking with that guy, in the front, thinks that this guy is an easy target, I see this. I see men like this as people in their divine masculine who are not afraid. Because when you walk around with this, you're afraid all the time. You're scared. And this is like a barking dog, It says, keep away from me. Stay away from me. I don't want to be put in a position. This one says, this version of self will basically say, I seek to harm nobody. I lead with unconditional love. And if you think that that's an easy target, I might be a challenge. I might be a challenge to you. That might make you a little hesitant to assume that somebody's weak or not capable of defending themselves to its totality. So if we were to take this version, okay, this version of this is just an AI man, okay, we were to say this is the human race. And I'm not going to say I hate depicting the entire human race by one man. We do that a lot, but they couldn't get the, And I'm going to keep this to the United States. Who are we seeing a lot more of? And I mean this. Who do we see a lot more of? And I don't mean in its totality. And of course but who we're seeing a lot more of, right? People who are afraid. And when they're afraid, it's interesting. When they're afraid, this is a time that you should be. You should be trusting in God. You should be leaning into source or whatever you choose to call it. But what we're seeing right now is this: anger, resentment, brutality, dismissiveness, dehumanizing. Dehumanizing. That's another thing this guy likes to do, to dehumanize. When you've disconnected with a divine source, you don't understand that we are all. You are everyone and everyone is you. You dehumanize somebody, you dehumanize yourself. What does it mean to dehumanize yourself? Mary of Magdalene, the Gospels of Mary of Magdalene spoke about this when she spoke to the disciples, if you guys remember, where they said, we must walk to become human again, to become fully human. Fully human is what it said. What did it mean, fully human? It didn't mean, just to be clear, the wording was a little funny, but it didn't mean that they were half ape or half non-human. It meant that to be able to walk in kindness, unconditional love, empathy, gentleness, without it competing with your ability to survive or defend yourself. Very simple. You see, there's a part of you that has to not like harm. That's important. You have to not like harm. Why is that important? Because though one is capable of harm, when you lead with this one, that version of you doesn't want to harm. It does everything it can to avoid it. But it won't be a doormat. That's why you can lead with this one. It's because you know you're not a doormat, right? You can lead with this one because you know. You don't have to be a barking dog on a leash. You know. You know. So as we're seeing the world, in our country in particular, and we're seeing the fork in the road that we're all hitting, to where we could push towards something more kind, more godly, quite frankly, or more cruel, more brutal, more selfish, less compassionate. You will pick one of these. You will pick one instead of understanding that yes, you do pick one to lead with, but you don't forsake the other. One of them is quite literally, when controlled, keeps you alive on this planet. Because when this one is in the front, this one, he knows when to bring this guy out. This guy doesn't know, that's why we walk with our shadow. We don't pretend it's gone. We don't cast it away. We don't lie about it. We walk with it. It's okay to have it. It's okay to have a version of yourself that's there, that's capable. But it's the most important that you're leading with this one, the one that has the discernment of where that person should be taken, when and where that version should be presented. Because this one is just a rat in a cage, and if you're unhealed. If you're not leaning into the divinity and the duality, this one can be a rat in a cage, harming and destroying everything, selfishly, having no empathy for anyone outside of self. Ooh, I like it. So I talk about this a bit, but I've been telling you guys I had a picture, and I was like, I got this picture that shows it too. What is the end game of dehumanization control? Yeah, well, here's why. If you imagine that, I actually was having a conversation with my friend today, and I'm going to keep it to the United States, where a lot of people don't trust our quality of life. Okay, a lot of Americans don't trust that we're not being targeted in some way, all of us, or harmed in some way. I mean, and I can't go too much into it, but use your imagination. Okay, we're at least being taken advantage of. Okay, minimum. But what happens when we have places like, I don't know, Alligator Alcatraz, and we have a sitting president who's talking and quite gleefully about it, just loving just that discussion. I see a lot of people. That's a lack of, but what they're doing is, not only are we okay when it happens, but we may do a little bidding for them because we feel this guy's upset and wants to take it out on someone, but likely is holding it in because of accountability by law. But if you've given permission to this one, then if you make a group of people a little bit less human, give them a permission slip to take out their brutality and their anger, because they're not grabbing their divinity, they might take that chance. So we do their bidding for them. We control one another. We police one another. We're the hall monitors. We've become the hall monitors for one another. Another part of this human condition is the feeling of superiority. Enjoying the feeling of superiority. Everybody wants that, right? Yes. Oh, they think it's hilarious. I'm going to say this right now. There is no human being. I'm going to say, I don't care. There's no human being, no group of human beings who deserve this. Not only do they not deserve it, but it is disturbing how many people not only are okay with it, but seem to be excited about something like that. Now that's a big sign of a lack of empathy. Would you like it done to you or somebody that you love? If the answer is no, don't cheer it on. Don't cheer it on. This need to skew our divine connection for those that have religion in particular, to create their God to be more and more hateful and vengeful and less loving. You're doing that because you've gone rogue even from the book. Your God must be vengeful, full of wrath, because that's what you are. You are vengeful and full of wrath. But see, you do not represent God. or source, or whatever you choose to call it. You represent the most primitive human disconnected from that, who is vengeful and sometimes full of wrath. But you cannot change. You can't change what is. You can grab a fractal of it, because you are a fractal of it. You are a natural fractal of God, a light of God. You can acknowledge that, trust in it, lead with it. Oh, I know. And this is where we're at. We wouldn't be in this place if we didn't have people that perpetuated this type of nonsense or excused it. I agree, Turtle. I thought about that and I talked about it quite a bit. But the difference, too, is somebody asked me about it, and I didn't, it was going to flag, so I wanted to be careful. But what I have said is that we've been consistently for the last 20 years really amping up our for-profit prisons. We've been setting a tone for where Americans are going to end up. So this has been a part of the plan. Now, here's the difference. As we can see, you don't actually have to commit a crime to go here. You just have to be the wrong color. Come from the wrong place. Believe differently, maybe even love differently. That's where we're seeing. We're not even seeing accountability be held where it belongs, with people who have done cruel things, who have committed crimes. You rattle an entire nation and you give them a scapegoat, one can only hope that their discernment is on par. Enough for them to not grab that scapegoat, but we can see there are plenty that will. Because they are disconnecting. They are this version. This one's mad all the time, feels victimized, targeted, feels justifying and behaving in terrible ways, is obtuse to the suffering of others, is not a defender of what's good, is not a protector of what's sacred. A protector of what's sacred. And then we start to split hairs on what's sacred, what's deserving. We haven't even, how dare us not even grab the fractal of God that we are, the light of God, but then think that we can speak on behalf of it to decide who's deserving of what. Every single human walking this earth is a light of God, regardless where they were born, how they love, how they worship. And if that stings, look inward. It doesn't sting me. I take a tremendous amount of comfort knowing that everyone is seen and loved. Seen, my loves. Seen. What if I were to tell you that another form of duality, another flip on its head, is that let's say, I'm just going to throw a hypothetical. Let's say that the way that you learned your lessons after you left this realm would be to feel every emotion that you made somebody else feel. I don't even think about that. Every emotion that you made somebody else feel, good and bad. Would you be itching to get there, to feel and bask yourself in those emotions? Now, it's very blanketed if I were saying that, hey, you're just going to feel what you've made other people feel. That means that if you go around making people feel great and seen, what a great experience, right? It's all in your hands. But that might frighten some people. More importantly, even if you've been a person that has had some hiccups and you're growing, and you're like, I know I wasn't always good. I know I didn't always make people feel good. At what age do you decide to turn that around, if you decide to turn it around? What if that was what it all came down to? That we had a complete say and complete control afterwards. But it depended on how we behaved here. See, that goes against what a lot of these Abrahamic beliefs go. They say. They kept pushing and pushing and pushing. Subservience, obedience, devotion. that we lost our conscience. We stopped wondering if this could be the word of God or the word of man. We see behaviors by one, but we haven't had, let's be clear, we haven't had concrete evidence. Now, I want to say this. We could say very easily, source is cruel. Source is cruel because bad things happen to good people. Bad things do happen to good people. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I won't claim to sit here and know. I do know that what I would say very lovingly is there is some understandings that we get when we leave this place that help put things into alignment for us. But I won't justify that part. I don't understand it either. It's not up for me to understand. It's up for me to be a person of service. That's it. I see that question come up a lot in the debates with atheists. When I respect everyone's right to believe. And to be fair, I'm not hardened in any religion. Okay? I am a person who, well, I'm an interdimensional being having a human experience who understands some things and doesn't understand many things. I am a soul having a human experience that has times of extreme difficulty and extreme joy. I don't understand many things of this place. But I try to improve it. I try to improve a moment in anyone's day that I come across. Because I know how much it can impact. But I don't know why so much happens. What I can say is that we drive negative outcomes with our mind. Understand that. The collective consciousness drives outcomes. So maybe it isn't a God we can blame or a devil. Maybe it's us. What if that were the case? What if there was no God or no devil that we could blame this on? What if it was us? What if it was which one we chose to lead with? Which version? And which one we've maybe allowed to lead for a long time? Some of the worst things I've seen, and we can talk about this because I've said this before. In those debates, they'll talk about what about the children who get cancer and unalive. That is terrible. I've seen that, and I know. I mean, there's a lot of terrible things. But I've told you guys too. I also did some looking into things, some little investigative work, and what I'll say is I'm a person that has seen and read and witnessed hours and hours and hours of tape evidence that if I didn't know better, I would think the devil himself came and did it. I would think the devil himself was speaking through the person. What if we are both God and the devil? But the devil didn't have to be so brutal, so evil, and God could be much more loving and accepting. The worst things I've seen, there are tragic things that nobody did, okay? No one could prevent. Something like a sickness in a young child or an accident, which has often no silver lining, none whatsoever. But then we see things that are preventable, done by the hands of someone. Who do we blame for that? We can't stop there's more to that. We're not going to be able to control every single thing that we or people we love experience, good, bad, and ugly, by the hands of nature and what have you. But we can make an impact on the way that we treat one another and the amount of harm that we put one another through. What if we are all fractals of God and what we would consider the devil? What does this country need? It reminds me of that quote, and I love saying it. It's a Buddhist quote, where they say, have the heart of a Buddha in the hand of a demon. Because it's no good to have the heart of a demon in the hand of a demon. the same way the hand of a Buddha can be too soft for those with the hand of a demon. So have the heart of a Buddha and the hand of a demon. I liked that saying because what does it say very clearly? The heart always moves the hand. So our hand doesn't go rogue like people might want to think. Our brain, we have a whole firing of synapses that happens with every little move that we make. It's thought out, calculated. Electricity flows, our nerves activate areas of our brain. But if you are only moving with heart, and that heart is aligned with source, whatever you choose to call it, your hands will always be doing what they're meant to be doing. Walking with the shadow is making sure that your hands can do what is necessary for those that are choosing to walk with the heart of a demon as well. And I'm going to say this. In a perfect world, no one would ever have to cause harm. That's where we're going to, in a perfect world. The duality conversation is really important because we're shifting this world to a place where we can lead a lot more with this one and a lot less with that because it won't be necessary. I've told you guys, I've seen this to its totality. The good wins. The good always wins. Shadows can only exist when there's light. But we celebrate one a lot more than the other, right? Our culture sees strength in one and not the other, and we have it wrong. I've said it and I'll say it again. The strength is with the one that walks with unconditional love, walks with kindness and empathy, isn't challenged. This one is scared. This one is always scared. And it's okay in the back pocket to have a fear. That's what prompts you to take an action. But to walk around afraid, you're a loose cannon. To walk around wounded, disconnecting yourself. See, the difference that we have with the male and female binary, and this is indoctrination. A lot of people like to chalk it up to our biology, and I won't think that that's 100% incorrect. There are aspects of it, but it's largely our conditioning too. Is that we seem to have one that needs to lean a little bit more towards this and one that might need to lean a little bit more towards that. You're hearing words like the dark feminine. The dark feminine. What does that mean, the dark feminine? The dark feminine is also the embracing of capability. Something we don't see from women very often. It's very new. So maybe we're seeing a lot more of the roar from the scared one. Because we don't see women talk about embracing that side of themselves, do we? It's not ladylike. It's not polite. It's not all the things you were conditioned to be. Good. Because when one group leans more into this one, they won't feel a threat that the other is grabbing more to the other. You see what I'm saying? They will understand. They will have the empathy and the cognitive thought to go, I see why it's necessary, even if it isn't me. Even if I'm not someone they're talking about. I can see why that's necessary. I can see why women are doing that. That means you're moving more towards source, towards empathy. Doesn't mean you get rid of the capable guy. You don't. There is no this understanding. Again, it goes back to the way we are trained in politics. You're Republican or you're Democrat. No, you're not. No, you're not. Nobody usually fits all the ideologies of either. No, you don't. No. You're allowed to conflict with a political party. You're allowed to conflict with a religion. You're allowed to conflict with things that don't align. You're allowed to be unique. You're allowed to be unique. So it isn't a choice of one or the other. This goes across the board. We're both. We're both good and bad. We're both God and the devil. It's just the one that we show. Who What version of God are we going to show each person we encounter and our loved ones? The most beautiful of his angels that defied him and took a third down with him? The devil? Or can we just maybe admit that the devil is in us? It's us. But so is God. So is Source. The fact that you are up, speaking, perceiving, experiencing, means that Source is with you. The shadow only exists for you to live, to survive it. The fact that you came out of a womb and breathed oxygen for the first time, Source was with you. Source was with you. The shadow, the fear, the indoctrination is only the indoctrination is to control, but the shadow and the fear is just to prompt you to take action to survive this place. It's a primal mechanism in our brain that's gone too far. And the reason we're seeing women take more of that duality in the other way, which is it has my full support, is because less and less, we're seeing less and less. And more. And how do you combat that one that's afraid and won't listen, has no empathy, has no limits, has no compassion, no humanity? How do you confront it? How do you stop it from harming that which is sacred? That which is sacred is all life, all innocent life. Okay? In the original text, it was meant to be women mainly. When it was spoken to men, it was saying to protect women. To protect women. And guess what? When that was said, it really wasn't supposed to mean against other men. You know, there was a time we lived here and there were a lot more threats. But get this. There was a time where women protected themselves. Actually, there was quite a long time where women did. Where did we lose our way? Where did women start to become helpless and men became what many of them have chosen to become? We're all leveling duality, every one of us. And every one of us should be able to lead with this one, everyone, male and female. The issue is we have a lot more, okay? A lot more leading with the afraid one. So women grabbing onto their primal instinct to be capable, to defend. It's against their nature. Do you know that? When I say that, it doesn't mean they're not capable. Again, I want to reiterate, women are capable of this. They've existed for a very long time. Trust me. But it's not where they want to go. It's not where they enjoy going. So to be pushed to a place where you're grabbing that, your dark feminine, relentlessly and unapologetically. I love it. I love it. Relentlessly and unapologetically. And I would tell all men, grab the God, the connection to God, your empathy, your humanity, unapologetically, because that's actually what takes more strength and bravery. Grabbing this guy again, that's fear. That's your fear, your intimidation, your inability to feel, your fear of feeling outside of self. You know, I saw, speaking of duality, I saw a video, and I think it's kind of going viral. I don't know if y'all saw it. It was a Frontier Airlines plane incident. You guys see it? Now, there's two parts to this, okay? What I'm gonna talk about. And if you haven't seen it, look it up. And what you're gonna see is, right about the time that people started recording, you see a African American man with locks, and he's hitting another guy and holding him down. And it doesn't, the video doesn't give it a lot of context, okay? However, one thing that I did notice was the women who were trying to break them up were actually petting the face of the African-American man, almost like they were like, it's okay, honey. Some news sources got a hold of that and painted the African-American man to be the aggressor in the situation because he won by a long shot. When in fact, it was actually the guy who got a thump. He also went to jail because he was verbally harassing this man, threatened him. And the man, I hate this, I forget their names, but the one that defended himself even went to the flight attendants and just made them aware of it. Said, hey, this is going on. I don't know what you want to do. He's been saying things to me. I don't know. It's weird. He seems unhinged. And he actually said this guy also mentioned that he was a godly man. And he said, there's something dark about this dude behind me. There's something dark about him. I don't want anything, And the flight attendant said, yes, we've been made aware of this, which means that somebody had already said something. And they told the guy, that, just hit the call button if he keeps going, So this guy goes back to his chair, and the other guy's still saying things to him. And he hits the call button, and he turns around to the guy, and he says something to him like, what is your deal? And the guy gets right up in his face and puts his hand around his neck. Now I'm going to tell you right now, I don't need to share what I've told women. If a partner or anyone puts their hand and chokes you, don't second guess whether they're going to take it all the way. That is an act of extreme violence, and it has taken many. To that point, don't put your hand on someone's neck unless you're ready to back it up. So he did. He put his hand around the guy's neck, started to choke him. I hope y'all check out the video and look at what happened. Look at the mugshot. Now that, my loves, is a good example of a walking challenge. Because the African-American man was not instigating, was not provoking, was being very calm, trying to be peaceful, trying to get this guy to leave him alone, because he was trying to divert violence. This violent man saw him as an easy target trying to avoid a fight. No, he was trying to avoid a fight because it was unnecessary, and he didn't understand what the hell the guy's problem was. Why fight in front of people? Why ruin and shake up everyone's day if it's not necessary? Yeah. So that guy saw it an easy target, and he found out. He found out. That's a good example. That's a good example. What does irk me, and will continue to irk me, is the media spinning it. I'm so tired of seeing this happen, by the way. That if there's a fight between two people. Now, the other guy he looks, I don't know, maybe Middle Eastern, I'm not quite sure, But if we see someone who's an African-American, the news might run with it and say, oh, look at this. Not knowing the guy was defending himself, tried to get away from that, try to not have it happen. The homeboy kept going and going and going. Hey, Rihanna. Thank you. Until he got dealt with. And I hope he learned a lesson. I hope. Do not mistake lack of desire for conflict for incapability of conflict. Someone really wanting it, bragging, instigating. This is someone who's afraid. Now, I don't know what that guy's problem was, but there's going to be a lot of people who are just pissed and just looking for someone to take it out on. And they may pick someone that may be like that guy, maybe like many other people, maybe like me. They will handle it. But not just that. You may think you can do this in front of other people, and you might happen to do it in front of somebody who is also a walking challenge, who will step in, who will protect that which is sacred, which is that which is loving, innocent. I don't need to share with anybody right now that it is a time to lead with that side of yourself, the side of you that will ferociously protect, has ferocious empathy. You see something. What are you afraid of? Say something. Do more than say something. Get your body in there. Be unafraid. Because I can assure you this. I say this. I say this. And I don't like to brag, and I don't want to sound like whatever, because I don't love that I've had to be violent, but I've been put in positions where I've not had a choice. More than once. More than the average bear. And I do try to avoid it. I try to talk out of it. I do all the things. It's not something I want to do, not something I want to put someone through. But I've also never lost. I don't walk around bullying people because I trained as a kickboxer. I don't wear a shirt that makes sure everybody knows, so everybody leaves me alone, because I'm not afraid to be challenged. Many of us aren't. That man on the airplane wanted to avoid conflict, but he didn't back down from it. Does it make him less godly? No. That's why the duality and understanding is important, because when you are on this journey, you get a lot of people telling you all kinds of things, how you should behave and what you shouldn't do and whatever. And in many ways, I wouldn't disagree. But righteous anger is a thing. Righteous action is a thing. It's a thing. I've told people, we don't just zip out of here. Yeshua himself was not exempt from the physical world. Do we believe ourselves to be exempt? Look what they did to him. No, and not for our sins, because he was a threat. He was a threat. He got a lot of people, a lot of men in particular, to lead with the divine part of themselves. Now, why was that bad? Because this one thinks for himself. He can't be controlled. This one's afraid all the time, easily controlled. He was getting men to move away from this and embrace the side of them that was loving, kind, compassionate. That one's much harder to control. Acknowledges their conscience and their empathy, acknowledges their humanity. You really can't dehumanize somebody that loves unconditionally. You can't get them to dehumanize other people. That's bad for business. If they want to take some land, they want to build some pipes. They want it to run through some things. They want us to not care that it's native land, because it's just natives, right? As if many of us will see native people as less human. See, they get us to pit, against one another. They raise all this stuff about the undocumented issue and people of Hispanic heritage, as if they are not indigenous as well. The audacity. And then get them to support and rally and hoot and holler over their demise, even the most grotesque version of it, and then really wholeheartedly believe that it won't come for them, that they have a seat at the table. You're easy to control because you're not thinking. No one's exempt. They're just going to use your lack of empathy to do their bidding, unless you don't let them. I've spent a lot of my platform talking about this type of duality, because some people know, like I started out talking about politics and policy. Trying to get Americans to unite to stop what was happening. And I'm going to make a video about that, because it had quite an impact, what I found out. Good, bad, and ugly. But one thing that I will share is that I understand, and I'd like to share this with people just so they know that it's not all for nothing. When I tell you guys that the spiritual aspect of this is important, the shadow work is important, even though we're not exempt from the physical, I know that it's different than what people say. I know that the spiritual wants to say, we're just going to vibrate on out of here. And then those that are not spiritual, just it's all destruction, it's all physical. No, it's a hybrid. It's a hybrid. Not just in the science and the knowledge and the things that you can do to defend yourself by way of physical defense or anything of the like, but also who you face when you look in the mirror after you've done that. If you had to. See, people don't talk about that a lot. The people really instigating civil unrest, even war. I've never seen it. I know that. You don't hear veterans or anyone that's seen war get up and advocate for it. Why is that? Because as fractals of God, even when it's necessary, it leaves an imprint. The ogre becomes solidified. The version of you capable of doing that. And it can capture and swallow people. It's hard for them to get out of it. It's hard for them to even remember that they have this. They have this side to them as well. It is an internal struggle and guilt and shame. So they don't want anyone else to experience that. They don't want anyone else to be harmed. They don't want anyone else to see what they've seen. Now, I'm not talking about any type of uprising that would be violent, because I don't think that violence will be the answer. I am saying, as spiritual beings, our healing and our leaning into spirituality and understanding ourselves as divine beings is not meant to just make us feel superior. No, it's meant to make us feel just very much a part of the human collective. And the healing, it offers a certainty that you can walk with when you do stand. That you have done the work, that you are a good person, that all you want is to help. All you want is for things to be better. But there's a lot of brutal and violent people who want the polar opposite from you. And we've seen we can't just pray them away. It's meant to remind you that you are still connected with God before you've had to face anything. I'm not a person that likes to advocate or talk about us having to behave any type of way or being forced. I have been a person who has consistently said, be capable. Whatever that means to you, be capable. You don't have to go off and train. You don't have to do anything, but be capable. Because no matter how divine and elevated you are still a part of the human race, the species. And that knowledge was only meant to help you rise up to save it, to care enough to save it, to care enough to do what's right, to be strong enough to know what is right, that discernment. And when you look at yourself in the mirror, you don't see someone that you conflict with. You see someone who did what was necessary to bring forth the new world, a kind world, a loving world, out of the grip of brutal, calloused, disconnected shells of a human. I know people would like to say, oh, I could do it. I could do whatever. And even if somebody was bad, I wouldn't feel bad. I know you've not faced that. I know you know how to do it. I always told you guys, some of us have a little bit more grit in this journey. It doesn't mean that one's better or one's not. It's that we hold space. We hold a line. Some of us by way of physical alignment. Some of us by light. But even light workers are capable. because you are a human avatar. You came down here for a purpose. There's a conflict that we were shown with certain things. I'm going to use the CEO of the healthcare company. For a divine being, for any being with a heart, it was a loss of a life. But a life of someone who cost a lot of lives. So not as bad. I don't know. It was conflicting, wasn't it? Because all loss of life is sad. But did we feel the internal conflict of someone who cost innocent lives? And feeling the lack of empathy. It's a good example. We still felt it. We still felt. But we also had a hard time holding on to it, right? That is a conundrum, you divine beings having a human experience. That is why your shadow work is important. That is why connecting to source is important. Because in your own way, you are a spiritual warrior. And you're being spared that conflict. You send as much energy out towards something beautiful, something seamless, as much as you can, and it does have impact. You keep the shadow in the back of your mind. It's only there when you need it. But it's there. It's there when you need it, so you walk this world fearless. That's what we need, fearless. Yeah, no, I agree. Well, women carry a tremendous amount of power with essentially their connection to source and energy. Women naturally have quite a very potent tap to it. And with both men, again, what keeps this guy at the driver's seat is fear. Women are the same way. You keep women afraid. They have a harder time accessing their divine connection. But what they don't realize is that you keep women afraid their whole lives, and they get kind of used to it, and they push through it with rage. Rage. Their DNA gets activated. All of the trauma and all of the knowledge of their mothers come in. And it comes out in rage. Women have become callous to fear. They've come to expect it. I've told people, you can visibly see and feel a difference in any conflict that is physical when someone is genuinely fearless. I mean this. They talk about this in boxing when you're afraid to take a hit. It's one of the first things. Because people don't fight as well when you're boxing, when you're afraid to get hit. When you're not afraid, it exudes an energy already to the other person, first of all. But they're like, the fuck? But how do you move? How do you operate when you are operating without fear of an outcome? You don't care about your own demise. You go out clawing, gouging, whatever. I say this because if you embody fearlessness, but you have connected deeply with Source, you are a warrior for the good, for all, for those that look different than you, have different skin color, speak a different language, worship differently. You are a walking challenge for every single being who may be seen as a target. We are spiritual warriors. And when I say we don't fight their fire with their fire, I mean because our fire is greater. It has the power of Source with it. It is the one that is fueled with the cosmos. It has an energetic element to it that I can't tell you about. You'll see. But one great gift that you get is the fearlessness. And I'll take a group of fearless people untrained any day. From experience, I'll tell you that. Heart cannot be trained. You can train any one technique. Heart cannot. So if you're holding on to your beliefs in this fragile glass case of fear, you lack heart. Technique may not be able to even save you over someone who has heart, who has so much love coming out of them. They are a mama bear for everybody. Or a papa bear, whatever, but not a identical analogy. It's not that we're meant to be violent. We're meant to avoid it at all costs. We're just meant to be capable if it's necessary. Because they've gotten very brazen. And I told you guys they would. Very brazen in what they think they can say. They've gotten the illusion that they can call someone a slur. They can get away with it. Y'all remember the Montgomery Brawl? Can I tell you that was one of the best viral videos I'd ever seen, and I loved it. And I didn't have 1 ounce of compassion or sadness for the people that were targeted. Yeah, you got exactly. Don't behave that way. Do you think your privilege will carry you all the way? But here's what I want to add. Is when you take a group of people that look just like those that are being targeted, maybe it's expected, but we need to be people that rise up on those that look different than us, which is not expected. A silent weapon. That's how you use your privilege for good when you've decolonized your mind. Is being the one that will rise for injustice even when the person looks different than you, loves different than you, and is different than you. If it is unjust, it's unjust, and you rise up. They don't expect that. But it's there. Like I said, you may behave this way in front of someone else who's a walking challenge, while you're trying to target someone you believe is an easy target. I told you guys there would be a lot of prompts for people to show themselves. A lot of challenges, a lot of sifting. We're seeing it. And I have told you guys it was going to be hard. It was going to be something sometimes we'd have to grit through, and that we needed to be in the physical. We needed to become communities. We needed to advocate for those fearlessly. All of this spirituality, all of the healing was meant to build us up into the people who are fearless and not to be violent, but to stand on all 10. People might take that as violence because the world is so violent. If you stand in your footing, that usually means you have to be. No, you could just be somebody that no one can be targeted around without consequence. Be brave enough to be that person. Be brave enough to be that person. Because I, for one, I know the conversation has gone on for a long time. I know that people are really going off the deep end. And when I say warriors of God, warriors of the light, I mean warriors of the light. Everyone has a golden ticket. I say this, everyone's got a golden ticket. Everyone has a connection to source. You choose to sever it. Nobody made you. All of this isms and phobias and all the things, those were taught. They can be untaught. You have the choice. So at this point, There will be no compassion if you've chosen the dark. I am not pleading with people to choose the light because they have gotten dicey on what the light is. They are far too deep in their privilege. There's a world where being decentered so terrible. A world of equality and equity. I don't know, y'all. It's others' beliefs put on us, but exactly. Who are we? That's what I mean. That's what this journey has been about spiritually, is who are we? At our bare boned, who are we? When we have no influence, who are we? When we don't want to dismiss atrocious things, who are we? And if we've landed in who we are is someone that cannot and will not continue to stand and take and watch innocent people being harmed by brutal people with no heart, no compassion, no connection to their humanity, their empathy, and to source. Everybody has gotten closer and closer. I don't know if there will be any more challenges after this, if you still justify it. I can't imagine. Thank you. I can't imagine. If you are rooting on something as atrocious as these camps, trust that you are not on the side of the light. You're not. And I'm not one to tell people that, but I can confidently say that. You're not. Yes. But it takes us together, collectively working. The versions of us and the reason that we healed spiritually is everybody, it's going to be everybody's whatever, is to also heal the past traumas, bigotries, and even things that we were subject to. And even internalized racism we might have. I say internalized racism. Most people don't want to admit they have that. You do. You didn't mean to. It doesn't mean you are one, but it means it was indoctrinated. It was slipped in. If you would be more hesitant to rise for a person of color than a person that looked like you, you have internalized racism. I know. Here's what I'll say, Donna. I trust me, I know. I think that's a common thread. And it's a turbulent feeling. I know it is. It's very turbulent. You feel untethered. They knew it would be jolting to wake people up during this experience. It does. It doesn't feel real. I know. I talked about that last live. It doesn't feel real. We feel untethered. Everything kind of blends. Time blends together. Your memories blend. We're amping up to something. And maybe to get through it, there's some things that can help, all right? Because it's nothing that we've ever been through before. To that point, many of which we have, just not on this planet. But I say to you, this connection, this divine understanding that we're coming to, is for us to be people who are ready. There's a reason why an all-loving source or God hasn't come and fixed everything. Jesus hasn't come back to save everyone. The extraterrestrials haven't just whisked here and come here. They've already been here, by the way. They've been here the whole time. Because it's us. It's us that has to change it. And we start by being kind. I mean this. It absolutely starts by seeing a kind world and being the best light towards it every day. But I won't lie to you when I say There is a physical component that it is important that we warm up to. I've never told you guys that we were exempt from it. I don't like to harp on it. I don't like to talk about it a lot. I don't like for people to get too rattled in it, but I've said it a lot. The spiritual component is a beautiful reminder that you are doing the right thing, no matter what you are forced to do. And it's a gift. But be that light every day, all day, all the time. Be the light. Be the one the change that you want to see. We don't go out looking for things. We don't go out expecting it. We go out being a person of unconditional love and compassion, bringing forth a new compassion world. But we walk with our shadow so that we can walk fearless. So that we can walk fearless. Yes, we are here to exactly. I've told people, go on about your life being kind, continuing to advocate, continuing to create community and do whatever part you need to do to help humanity within your means, within, But I know that we're watching this. I know we're all paying attention. And I know people are probably confused on where they should fall in all of it, especially if you're on this journey spiritually. The spiritual element is to consistently remind you that God, the light, the love, the Most High is with you. Because you don't split hairs on who's worthy. You don't split hairs. You see everyone and everything as something worth fighting for, something deserving of quality and life, and you don't. It gets harder and harder and harder to hear it. I know that. I know that, and that's going to spark a lot of rage. Rage is important. It's okay. Don't let it engulf you. That rage is meant to continue to remind you that you're still here, and it's important that you're here. Stay here. Because you're a part of something truly magnificent and divine. But there's a lot of components and a lot of wheels, because we're complex. So of course this journey would be complex. It's not going to give you a handbook, and it's not going to be just one way. You have to learn the balance. You have to learn the duality. I know, Joan. I'm just talking about that. My God, I know. It breaks my heart. The no weather alert either. I'm going to grab something real fast. Give me one second. Is anybody else like ravenous lately? My frequency's been up really high. Makes you really hungry. So I'm going to make a live. Yeah. I'm going to make a video. Yeah, that's awesome. I think today or whatever, just kind of depicting a little brush up on the journey that we've experienced here. When I tell you, when I tell you that many Americans will sit on their hands, I can assure you, that's the case. Many Americans will sit on their hands. So be the one that won't. Yeah, I slept a lot too. So make sure you're hydrating and sleep. Like all of this will make a lot of sense. It is important to limit aspects of your exposure to it because they really like to rattle the cages. Get yourself set up, you and your family. Again, I say this a lot, create network, create community. I've told people join our Discord, which I can never get the link to work. Because in truth, it feels unreal because you're waking up, not because this world is so unique right now. Not because we have people behaving like unique. No, it's because you woke up, and it gets worse. It gets way worse to normalize, and that's good. We're not meant to. But that feeling of duality, of the physical and the spiritual, you are both. You are both energy and matter. You are quite literally a frequency vibrating at a very specific rate to create matter. That's what you are. You're both. What a miracle that is. We lead with one because this is what the world needs every day, all day. We keep the other in the back pocket because that's what the world is full of. It needs purged out. But we lead with one. I want everyone, and I am going to jump off here, but I want everyone to try not to, and this is the most important thing I'm going to say. If I told you that you will get much more, and I've always said this, you are the tap and everything, but you will get much more understandings from source, from your guides and everything when you are not operating in fear. So if you're not quite, if you are a little bit afraid, okay, that's okay. That's normal. Do whatever it is you need to do to alleviate that fear. And yes, it is possible. If you're afraid of, everything getting shut down, I've been telling you guys, 2 to 3 weeks of food, make sure biological needs are met. Put that fear to bed. Okay, easy. Whatever it is that you need to do to alleviate that fear. Because in this journey, the most important thing we do is walk fearless. It is the most important thing we'll do. That's why we feel this pull, this tug back and forth. I have never believed, nor will I, that a divine source would put so much harm around us and tell us the only way to get out of it is to ignore it completely and pretend we're not there. No. But we are meant to balance it. How much of an impact it has on us, how much we allow it to get to us, how much, if it is actually keeping us in a place of fear, to where we're not connecting, we're getting angry. It is okay to take a break, to recharge. But it would be a cruel joke to imagine that source, hey, ghost dancer, that source, God, whatever we choose to call it, would put carnage all around us and say, hey, divine soul, ignore everything. I'll never tell you guys to do that. But I will tell you, please understand that it has a setup to it as well. That yes, they'll do a lot of things, but they'll make sure that it has the strongest impact to fear that it possibly can. There's going to be more. There's going to be more that I'm going to share. Just not right now. But I say this to you. Don't let it make you afraid, and don't let it make you complicit. You are a divine soul. You know the rules. You don't need a book or a person to tell you what's good, what's right, and what's wrong. You are a divine soul. You are a light of God. No book, no word by anyone can defeat that connection, that conscience, that understanding that you have, that all humans are light of God and worthy. And worthy. And worthy. Most importantly. I am going to jump off. But I want to say this. And that's all I wanted to say. It's just that they're going to amp it up. Don't engage too much. That's important. You are likely engaging with the bot if it's on here. Sadly, there's a strong presence. It seems that some of the most hateful, vile humans are not humans at all. They are programs, quite literally. Use discernment. And even if it was every one of them, be the one that stands against it. Be the one that knows better. And sometimes it means preserving your energy. You can call people out. You can say what you want to say, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But be careful, because remember this, parasitic energy, negative parasitic energy does not care what type of energy it gets. Meaning, it doesn't care if it's good. It feeds on both, good and bad. Your energy, my love, is sacred. It's a sacred thing. You can acknowledge, you can speak up for, you can do all the things, but if it is punching holes in you, preserve your energy, reconnect, recharge. That is a balance. It is an eternal dance that we do here, and it is difficult, and I will not lie. I'll be the first to say it. It's fucking difficult. The world's on fire, and you care about it all, you know? That's hard. But we have to put it into motion, brick by brick. That is leading with kindness, leading with the change that we want to see, leading with the change we want to see. And it doesn't have to have a peak or a climactic aspect to it by way of violence or war. It doesn't. But I have told people, just be capable and fearless. You will always know that you're on the right side. I believe that a ghost answer. Please drink a lot of water. Mine too. There's a big impact happening right now. Big one. And that's another thing that happens with us. We need to be outside. We need to be looking at the moon. The moon heals us. I say this. The moon heals us. The sun heals us. Nature heals us. Go outside. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Drink a lot of water. You know I'm going to say that. And make sure you rest. That's the other thing. It's hard to clear your mind when you can't rest it. This is why breaking away from the matrix is so important right now. We need to be able to rest our minds. And you can't do that the way they've set it up. I am going to share more with you guys because I did get a pretty strong download, but I am still sifting through it. Remember, I'm decoding right now. I'm not afraid, though. I want you guys to know that. Not one bit. Oh, not one bit. Thank you, Mary. Yeah. Good things will come. Just remember what I said. Walk fearless. Not looking for an excuse. That's when I tell people that little flame, that rage flame will engulf you if you go around looking If you go around looking to take it out on someone, you are no better. Keep it harnessed. I will never tell people to put it out. Harness it. You're going to need it. But keep it harnessed. Not engulfing you and not out. Harnessed. Just enough to keep you warm. But not set you ablaze. You see? On this journey, sometimes we can be our own worst enemy. And there is no handbook. I know that. I've told people that if you're staying in the U.S., I hope by now you know what you're staying for. And I've seen it to its totality. The good ones. The good ones. And I've very clearly depicted what the good is. The good is loving what you don't understand. The good is seeing connections, seeing worthiness, or even when it's not found even within the person. It is seeing someone worth fighting for, even when they are not fighting for themselves. When they've thrown their hands up. It is standing up to those that think that we are easy targets, that think we have forgotten that we are divine beings, that think that they can hinder our awakening, they can hinder our spiritual purpose, that they can divide us. If anyone is dividing the down here Peasantville working class for anything, ignore them. We're in this together. We're in this together, and there is no hierarchy. So as people become more brazen, start really showing themselves. I need my spiritual warriors to become fearless and quick. You are divinely protected the moment you believe it. You came here for a purpose. And you're doing it, by the way. It's a balance. I know that. It's a fucking balance. I know. Find the good. Find the happy. Find the light every day that you can. Don't sulk. Process. Believe that you carry a duality. Know that you carry a duality. But looking for it will bring it to you. It is absolutely walking on a tightrope. I wish I had a different way to say it, but that's exactly what it is. It is an absolute tightrope, and it is easy to slip over. It is easy to literally get engulfed and exhausted with the way they're pumping it out. The condemnation and vitriol that people are spewing at one another. This is no longer good for us or healthy. I'm sorry. It's just not. So remember that not everything you read is coming from a real person, but a robot. And that those are behaving like robots should have the compassion that you would have for a lost robot. I mean that. If someone is behaving like a robot towards others, they should receive the compassion from you that you would give to a lost robot. Because that robot, that uncompassionate, non-feeling person can be violent, can take innocence, can harm that which is sacred. And no one's stopping them. Except us. And I wouldn't fuck with us. I know that. Oh, I've heard about that. Yeah, that's kind of what it is. It really is. It's easy to go over to one side too much. I mean, literally, on this journey, we're multiple different people, right? Week, each month, each year. We feel like we're a different person each time. We kind of are. A part of this is because energetic fractals of yourself are collapsing into one, which is good. Comes with knowledge. Another part. Oh, I think it froze. Oh, shit. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Am I there? Uh-oh. Something happened. Something's going on. Does it work? Okay. It did something weird. Okay. It froze on my end. I was like, no! Okay. I know you guys are here. Energetic fractals of you are collapsing into one. That comes with knowledge. So if you feel different from day to day, it's okay. You're adapting new versions so that you can be the broadest scope of self you possibly can be. Roll with it like a roller coaster. You're going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Just breathe. Walk in light. Walk in compassion. Walk in capability. You will always make the right choice. You will always be acting in divine light. You're being applauded. You're being rooted on. You're not alone. And with that, I am going to bid you guys adieu. I am about to eat again. I am going to be sharing more and going live a little bit more because there's more to it as long as they'll let me. But I want everyone to drink a lot of water, first of all. Schumann's going through the roof. And like I've told you guys, your astral is about to get very, very, very eventful. Okay? It's probably already started. Journal it. If you have to, I told you guys keep a journal with you all the time. Okay? You're learning a lot in your astral. So, and even if it's weird and you're like, I can't remember, yeah, whatever. Only remember a few things, write it down. There's a story there. That's why keeping it next to the bed is really good. Keeping it with you. Yeah. But your astral is very active. You're getting a lot of pep talks, a lot of wisdom. A lot of encouragement. Reassurance. It'll be nice to reflect upon. You'll see. Well, I will speak with you guys soon. I promise. No, I love it. I love it. Ghost Dancer. Godspeed, my love. Take care of yourself. I hope everyone has a beautiful night. Takes care of themselves. Drink water. Journal. Remember you're a divine warrior. All right. All of your stories are valid. All of your lives are worth fighting for.